FC Mobile was just released. We're going to take a first look at it, new features, new functions, where things are, what's different, what stayed the same, and what you should maybe be concerned about moving forward. Hey guys, finally he sleeps here. FC Mobile was just released a few hours ago. There is a lot of new and exciting things in the game. Gameplay is fantastic, off the charts. It's the best we've ever seen in the franchise. But there is a lot of new stuff, a lot of questions being asked about the game. And we live streamed it for about 6 hours at release. And this is a culmination of what we came up with, what we experienced, and the questions that people were asking about where things are and how things work. First though, make sure you subscribe here at YouTube, turn on notifications so you never miss when a video for FC Mobile goes live. If you're watching this, you're seeing it on my main channel, but there's also a couple other channels. Do me a solid and subscribe over there as well at Gearheads and at the Raid Shadow Legends channel. It's a big deal to subscribe. It's free, it's easy, and it does make a big difference on all of the channels. All right, so here's FC Mobile. The user interface is pretty similar to what you're used to with FIFA Mobile, but there is a few changes like we get every season where things move around, things are a little different. We're going to take a look at that first. But there's also some major changes to the game by way of how your club works, training, ranking, skill boost, and all that kind of stuff. But first, here on the main home screen, there are tabs across the bottom. You've got quests, leagues, market, and store. No big deal there. But the main change is this play button. That's where you're going to access everything. When you first come into this, it shows you division rivals, where you have access to your versus, your head-to-head, your manager mode. In the middle, there's a live events button. This is where all of the main events as part of the game will be located every day as you come in. Right now, we have Welcome FC there on the left. That is the major event that is running right now. It's a month-long program that coincides with Founders, and it is now called Welcome FC. This is where you come in and you have a chance to earn new players and start to build your team from scratch moving forward. In challenge mode, there are multiple challenge modes that are going to be running live with the release of the game. Daily, weekly, we have player versus player. One has head-to-head. The La Liga challenges have lineup requirements, and they require you to have some La Liga players in. There's some skill games in there as well. Some people were asking this morning, where do you play the skill games? Because believe it or not, this thing is a ton of player versus player and AI, and skill games are almost nowhere to be found. On day one, we struggled to find 3 skill games. 3 skill games. One in training, as you started to unlock all of the stuff. It's the kickoff portion of it. And then there's 2 in the La Liga challenge mode. And that's literally it. That's where it is. It is all gameplay and player versus player across the board. The kickoff is over here. This is where you'll start the game. But once you complete that and unlock all of the basic skill level stuff, play through a few things, and it basically just gets you ready for this is how you play FC Mobile. Once you're done with that, that's kind of stuck there in the tab. Over here on the right is tournaments. Now this unlocks the Champions League. The Champions League is basically a rebranded World Cup where you pick a team and then it puts you into group stages and you play through a season of UEFA's Champions League. The rewards that you earn from this are Champions League points. These UCL tokens you exchange for players in the main store, as well as this, when you go back to the live events and we go over to Welcome FC Mobile, there's going to be a whole separate video on how this event is working, but it's just another opportunity for you guys to grab new players to build an even larger team, because after the reset, the main thing everybody's focused on is, how do I increase my OVR? I want to be able to compete with everybody. I need to unlock it for the quests and everything. So it's a mad rush in the beginning to reach level 90, and then after that it's going to be the 100. Okay, who's first to 110, and to move on and on and on. And once you start to unlock things like the market and everything, you'll realize that there's a lot of differences in this game. One of the very first ones comes with the team, and you see that there are no lines between the players. Chemistry is gone. It is no longer a thing. There's also no number above all the players. It's not because you haven't unlocked skill boost yet. There is no skill boost. Skill boost is gone. We have an exchange of skill boost and chemistry. We have a new training and ranking system. If you look at the bottom of your players, underneath their logo, there's that little diamond thing that's right there. That is, the color is based on what rank they are. If we go to somebody else like Ronaldo here, you see there's a 5 in there. That is his training level. Those are different. You have ranks and you have training. You can train a player up to 5 and then you get stuck. To move past 5, you have to rank a player. You can rank a player without training them, but you can't train a player without ranking them. That's how it works. If you have a player that you have trained, such as Ronaldo, you can no longer use him in the transfer market. Trained players you cannot transfer. Ranked players you can. So this is where the big thing is this season. It comes into the market and how the ranking and training system works with player values. So if we look into our players, let's see if we can get into, let's just look at Allison. So if we go to purchase a new Allison, it brings it up on base level. Base level, he's 2.4 million coins. If we pull that pull down, and it shows how the colors change on his diamond at the bottom. At 1 rank, he's now 2.65 mil. At 3 ranks, he jumps up to 5.48, 8.14, and then 14.6 is his median value up there, all the way to 32.4 million median value at max rank level. Now again, there's no training on these. They're just ranked. So once you rank a player, you can't strip it. You can only sell that player. Training is where the problem is. Training is stripped when you sell the player. Now, how does the ranking work? That's the major issue with all of this that we're going to talk about. But I'm going to come back to it because I want to stay with all of the positives that we have right now in FC Mobile, because there's a lot of positives with this, not only with the way the game works and the way the game plays, but the user interface and everything, and it just looks smooth and everything. But the main thing that I want to talk to you about is how exciting the actual gameplay is in this game. So we'll just go to Champions League and start a new one. Gameplay in FC Mobile is by far and away the best we have seen in the entire franchise. We have more opportunities to use skill moves. We have more opportunities to juke your players out, to move the ball quickly. We have advanced tackling. We have advanced passing. We have new skill moves as part of this. There are No problems so far. We played the game for 6 hours this morning, right at release, which is usually one of the toughest places to get into the game, where you're struggling to find matches and everything. We played multiple head-to-head matches, had no lag issues whatsoever. We came right in, were able to play player versus player. I, who complain constantly about button lag, did not have any button lag as part of my head-to-head matches. The other thing that comes into this is they've talked about how one of the major changes into gameplay this season was the difficulty level of scoring, because what we had in the past is a game where it was much easier to just dribble up and score. There is a lot more factors that are involved in it this season, specifically in player versus player. You have a luck factor. Do you have defense in front of you? You have to be aimed at the goal. There are new types of shots. Power comes into play. Your player attributes are more important. The smoothness of gameplay is hands down the one thing that is making FC Mobile a huge jump over FIFA Mobile moving forward. But the training and ranking system and the way it's going to work could be a major drawback moving forward. The way ranking works, now remember, you can rank a player and sell that same player with the ranks. But to rank a player, you have to use duplicate copies of that player. Now, the problem is that it's exact duplicate copies. If you've played seasons in the past, you know that the older ranking system, when we used to be able to push players into another player to rank them up separate from training, you used base versions. You could use any version. So if you wanted to take an Allison and rank him up to level 2, you could use any version of Allison. If you had a Team of the Year Allison, you could use a base Allison, put him in there, and then you would rank him up. This year, however, to rank up anyone, you have to use the exact same version. So like right now, we have all these Founders players that have come into the game. You only have one of them, which means you cannot rank anyone up because they're not available in the market. Any event that gets released moving forward that has players that are untradeable or are non-accessible in the game elsewhere, it looks like at this stage, you won't be able to rank those up. Right now, we have a lot of players in the game that were just handed to us as part of this release that you can't rank up. You can only train to level 5 and you can't go further. That could be a major problem. We're hopeful, though, that will get fixed moving forward and it won't be such a big issue. Maybe we'll have it where only some players require the exact version, or we've seen in other games where there might be an alternate version that works. So if they have a player that gets released and it's untradeable, then maybe any player from that program would go into that player, or, like position. We don't know yet because we're still in the first 7 hours of the game being released. But as of right now, this new training and rank up system presents some obstacles and some interesting opportunities with the market. The other big thing is region locking is gone. So now it is a global game once again. When you play, you are playing with everyone. We will be able to go back to our old leagues. We will be able to play versus and head-to-head based on your friend list. Those friendlies are no longer locked with your region. One other thing that goes along with the region unlocking is this is the first time we now have a global market. The market operates the same way it did in the previous seasons, other than the addition of the ranking and training system. But instead of it being your region is the only one in the market, it is a global system. EA has gone out of their way recently to let everybody know how many millions of users are playing the game. Was it 60 million people logged into Founders, and that's why we got that new emote with the head bopping thing. 60 million users trying to compete over the same exact players, specifically when those same exact players are used to rank up those same exact players. This could create a problem where only players have demand are based on the best players in each OVR, and then that demand is increased because those players, to increase their OVR and increase your OVR in turn, you have to have not one of them, but multiple versions of them. And that may put us into a system where the most valuable players in the game continue to compound and build higher value because of what is necessary to build that player, while the rest of the players decrease in value. It's the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. If that does come into pass, then we may have to reevaluate how we go about this and how the market plays into our strategy with FC Mobile. But again, all of this is going to come with time. We have no base programs in the game at release. We have the UCL rebranded World Cup tournament package, which should be there for quite some time, but it doesn't give out anything other than the points that are necessary for trade for its players. It's not really a program or anything that we're working towards anything. There's no build. There's no reason to grind and build. We have division rivals, which is the way it's always been, and we have the Welcome to FC event. There are no base programs. Hopefully they will add some base programs like we've had in previous seasons. Hopefully something more along the lines of World Tour or seasons like we've had in the past. That's what we need. We need a grindable campaign with a clear goal towards the end that we can get in and play each and every day. Gameplay is fantastic, but it's only going to take us so far when that's the only thing we have to do is versus and head-to-head. FC Mobile looks fantastic. It is smooth. It has so many new bells and whistles. Still holding out hope on the whole training and ranking system. But again, it's in its first day. There's a lot to go. Make sure you check out FC Mobile, download it, then make sure you subscribe here to the channel on YouTube. I'm finally, he sleeps. Appreciate you guys. As long as you keep tuning in, I'll keep making videos. Thanks for watching. If you haven't noticed, my YouTube channel has expanded. Subscribe here for EA Sports FC related content, but make sure you check out my other channels as well for Raid Shadow Legends, everything automotive over at Gearheads, and then check out my cringeworthy series for a few laughs. Subscribe links are literally right over there.